Part 74. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 731. Daughter. Is Scarlet Hongyu the daughter of immortal Emperor Yanlong? Su Yang was stunned when he heard this. He vaguely felt that Chi Hongyu's identity was strange. Since she was the woman of Emperor Yanlong, how could she be a virgin? However, Su Yang never expected that there would be such a relationship between the two. Immediately afterwards, a playful smile appeared on Su Yang's lips, and he said coldly, "Chi Hongyu, are you stupid? If you were just the Yanlong Immortal Emperor's woman and were oppressed by the Yanlong Immortal Emperor, maybe I wouldn't kill you, but now." Su Yang stared at the crimson moon with cold eyes and said sternly, "You will definitely not be able to leave. Immortal Emperor Yanlong and I are inseparable. The daughter of my enemy, ha ha ha, will make me even more excited." As soon as he finished speaking, Su Yang strode forward and directly tore off Crimson Hongyu's belt. The red dress slipped off her body in an instant, exposing her beautiful shoulders to the air. "You!" Scarlet Hongyu was so angry that she stared at Su Yang with her beautiful eyes, wishing to cut him into pieces. Originally, when she revealed her identity, she just hoped to frighten Su Yang, but she didn't expect that Su Yang was not afraid at all and even had more ill intentions towards her. "What's wrong with me?" Su Yang stepped forward, bent down, grabbed the red and white jade feet, and said with an evil smile, "Back then, your father, Immortal Emperor Yanlong, united with many immortal emperors to send me to the Nine Nether Hell. This account it must be liquidated. Father's debt is repaid by his son. As the daughter of Immortal Emperor Yanlong, it's not too much for you to repay it for her, right?" Su Yang smiled playfully and said, "I won't embarrass you. Play with me for a few days and then I'll let you go." "Su Yang, you're dreaming," Chi Hongyu roared angrily. "Woman, it seems that you don't know the current affairs. In this case, I have to force you. You are in the Void Tower, and you will not be able to escape from my grasp." Su Yang then laughed and said, "Ha ha ha, Yanlong Immortal Emperor, you didn't expect that you were deliberately trying to deal with me, but I fell in love with your daughter. I really hope to see your expression when you learned about this." With that said, Su Yang grabbed Chi Hongyu's ankle and pulled it towards him. Chi Hongyu, who was originally full of rejection, gave up her resistance after hearing Su Yang's words. What's even more strange is that the panic on her face disappeared, and she lay on the ground with a calm face, letting Su Yang play with her. "Why, don't you resist?" At this time, Su Yang asked curiously. "Is resistance useful?" Chi Hongyu said lightly. "Didn't you just say, don't bully others too much? If you push yourself too hard, I won't get any good results either. I was trying to scare you." Just as she was talking, Chi Hongyu took the initiative to take off her red dress. The beautiful scenery was visible to the naked eye, and urged, "Su Yang, come quickly if you want to. Don't you want me to cooperate with you?" "It's no problem, I will definitely cooperate with you." Su Yang was confused. What was going on with this girl? She was so fierce and threatening before, but now she seemed like a different person. Something is wrong, there must be something weird here. Thinking of this, Su Yang sent Crimson Hongyu's jade feet and looked at Crimson Hongyu with interest. "Why, Su Yang, you can't do it, right?" Chi Hongyu challenged. "Fuck." When Su Yang heard this, he immediately became serious. "Crimson Hongyu, are you still in high spirits? I was just joking with you just now, to scare you. I, the Immortal Emperor Xiantian, have always been upright, so how could I do something against a woman's will, thing? You really scared me. What's going on with you?" Su Yang couldn't help but take 2 steps back, then seemed to think of something, and said suddenly, "Damn it, Chi Hongyu, are you suffering from some kind of contagious skin disease and want to infect it to me?" The space within the Void Tower was buzzing and trembling, The heaven and earth resonated, and the sound was overwhelming. Su Yang had guessed before that this crimson moon must have a strong trump card. Then you come, I'll be waiting for you at any time and wait and see how you perform. Just as Su Yang was calculating, a tripod the size of a watermelon suddenly appeared above Crimson Moon's head. But Su Yang never expected that when he proposed to rape Chi Hongyu would not resist, but would cooperate with him. This move was to retreat in order to advance, which really scared Su Yang. Su Yang, try saying one more thing. Buzz. Su Yang said sincerely, let's do this. Seeing how pitiful you are, I will take you for treatment when I get a chance. You still have a chance to be a normal person. Don't be discouraged or feel inferior. However, Crimson Red Moon hit it very well, and Su Yang did not realize what the so-called trump card was. Hey, Scarlet Moon, our Earth is very advanced in the treatment of this kind of skin disease. If you are sick, you should admit it. There is no point in trying to hold on. In the end, you are the only one who will suffer. As for the subsequent slander of Chi Hongyu, saying that she had that disgraceful disease, it was just talk. Su Yang concluded that although Scarlet Hongyu's trump card was very strong, it would not be able to help her escape from the Void Tower easily. There is no need to think too much about this. If there is no trump card, how can the Yanlong Immortal Emperor rest assured that his closest relatives will come to the earth? Scarlet Hongyu stared at Su Yang, raised the corners of her mouth and said, but now, you slander me like this, Su Yang, just die. But it was her inadvertent talk that completely angered Scarlet Hongyu and forced her to reveal her trump card. Scarlet Hongyu was completely angry, with terrifying energy fluctuations exuding all over her body, and said in a cold voice, although I don't want to admit it, I am indeed the daughter of the Yanlong Immortal Emperor, and I am his only heir. Stop pretending, you must be sick, otherwise why would you be so eager to seduce me? Su Yang, you forced me to do this. Scarlet Hongyu was furious, immediately put on her clothes, stood up, and stared at Su Yang angrily. Go to hell. Su Yang, before you forced me, humiliated me, and even wanted to have sex with me, I had no intention of using the strongest trump card. Chi Hongyu's jade face turned red instantly, and she said angrily, you are the one who has that kind of disease. Because I don't care about humiliation, and you can't threaten me. Also, I can see that you are just trying to scare me by touching me. I pretend to be scared just to cooperate with you and make you think that I am not experienced in the world, easy to bully, so he takes me lightly. Su Yang continued, let me guess. You must know that you are no match for me in the Void Tower. You can't beat me, so you want to use this disease to defeat me, right? Depend on. After he learned of Chi Hongyu's identity just now, he made a gesture of forcing Chi Hongyu, just to force out Chi Hongyu's trump card. When I come to Earth this time, there are so many crises. How could the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor not give me the most powerful trump card? Otherwise, Crimson Red Moon would have used it long ago and would never have waited until now. As Chi Hongyu spoke, she spread her legs and made a seductive gesture. As he spoke, the Crimson Moon slowly rose into the sky, and the power around him became stronger and stronger. Hateful. However, if you provoke me again, don't blame me for being rude. After all, you are quite beautiful. Which man can withstand the temptation of a peerless beauty? Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 732. This cauldron has 9 legs and is densely covered with mysterious runes. It exudes terrifying power and sweeps across all directions. When Su Yang saw this cauldron, he immediately became serious and blurted out, the Xianhuang Mother Qi Cauldron is actually the Xianhuang Mother Qi Cauldron. He. The Xianhuang Mother Qi Cauldron above Crimson Hongyu seemed to be indestructible. It was suspended in mid-air and said coldly, yes, this is the Xianhuang Mother Qi Cauldron. Su Yang, you have good eyesight and you actually recognize this cauldron. By the way, I almost forgot about you. You are the Xiantian Immortal Emperor. It is normal for you to recognize this cauldron. After all, according to Yanlong Immortal Emperor, the owner of this cauldron has a close relationship with you, Qi Hongyu said with a playful smile. Snort. When Su Yang heard this, he snorted coldly, his face instantly darkened, and asked in a cold voice, "Why is the Xian Huang Mother Qi cauldron in your hands? Where has its owner Zhang Juling gone?" He. A playful smile appeared on Qi Hongyu's lips, and she said coldly, "The Xian Huang Mother Qi cauldron is with me, so she is naturally dead." Who can kill? When Su Yang heard this, his eyes were filled with murderous intent, and he said sternly, "Is it the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor?" Nature. Qi Hongyu said with a smile, "The Yanlong Immortal Emperor has been looking for a way to break through to that realm throughout his life, and the Zhang family, as one of the ancient families in the Xiantian Immortal Domain, has produced strong men above the Immortal Emperor, and naturally became achieved his goal. He knew about your relationship with Zhang Juling. He united with the Immortal Emperors to force you into the Nine Nether Hell. One of the reasons was that he wanted to plot against the Zhang family." Qi Hongyu continued, "So, after you were trapped in the Nine Nether Hell, Immortal Emperor Yanlong went to the Zhang family, and everyone in the Zhang family had no power to fight back. Only Zhang Juling could barely fight against the Yanlong Immortal Emperor by activating the Xian Huang Mother Qi cauldron." Qi Hongyu continued, "However, she did not last long. On the 10th day, she was defeated and obliterated by the Yanlong Immortal Emperor. The Xian Huang Mu Qi cauldron naturally fell into the hands of the Yanlong Immortal Emperor. The Yanlong Immortal Emperor killed countless people and killed many Immortal Emperors with his own hands. The imperial weapons he obtained were no less than the number of his hands, but he regarded the Xian Huang Mother Qi cauldron as a treasure." Qi Hongyu glanced at the Xian Huang Mother Qi cauldron above her head, and then said, "He told me that this cauldron comes from a mysterious ancient forbidden land. In that forbidden land, let alone the Immortal Emperor, even if a being above the Immortal Emperor breaks in, there is a high chance that 89 will also die physically and spiritually. Back then, you and Zhang Juling entered the ancient forbidden land by mistake. No one knew what you encountered in the ancient forbidden land. But surprisingly, the two of you miraculously came out alive. Since then, Su Yang and Zhang Juling separated. As for Zhang Juling, after returning to the Zhang family with the Xian Huang Mother Qi cauldron, she gained the approval of her ancestor." After finishing her words, Qi Hongyu kneaded the secrets with both hands, controlled the black and yellow Mother Qi cauldron, and suddenly released a terrifying guess. Indeed, as Qi Hongyu said, he and Zhang Juling entered the ancient forbidden land together. But Su Yang was lucky. He got two treasures in an immortal cave, the Void Tower and the black and yellow Mother Qi cauldron. At this time, Qi Hongyu sneered, "Su Yang, you want to kill Immortal Emperor Yanlong. I'm very happy. I shouldn't have fought with you, but you spoke rudely and provoked me. Plus, I also want to take a look. Xian Huang, whether the Mother Qi cauldron can compete with the Void Tower. Come on. Danger and opportunity coexist. Although the ancient forbidden land is full of dangers, it also has many resources, elixirs, treasures, techniques, secret techniques, everything." Since then, Su Yang has never seen Zhang Juling again. He learned from others that Zhang Juling returned to the Zhang family, took over from the original ancestor, and took charge of the Zhang family, becoming the youngest ancestor of the Zhang family. Zhang Juling also knew what Su Yang was thinking. She liked Su Yang, but in this relationship, she felt inferior and never expressed it to Su Yang. The Xian Huang Mother Qi cauldron is made of ordinary forging materials, but the Xian Huang Mother Qi in it is one of the most taboo methods in the world, invulnerable to all means and indestructible to everything. Su Yang felt sorry for Zhang Juling, and besides having lived and died together, without Zhang Juling, it would be difficult for him to get out of the ancient forbidden land alive, so he gave the Xian Huang Mother Qi cauldron to Zhang Juling. When Su Yang and Zhang Juling met again, Zhang Juling was already a quasi-emperor. He was the best among his peers and looked down upon everyone but favored Su Yang. Flaming Dragon Immortal Emperor. Later, Su Yang achieved the Immortal Emperor Dao fruit, and Zhang Juling also took this step. At that time, Zhang Juling had a very low status in the Zhang family and was bullied because of her concubine status. Under the Zhang family's hard training, Zhang Juling made rapid progress and became famous throughout the Xiantian immortal realm. Finally one day, Zhang Juling couldn't help it anymore and mustered up the courage to express her love to Su Yang, but Su Yang didn't feel it and politely refused. But in front of Su Yang, she will always be the little sister. She is like brother Xiantian, making others envious and making Su Yang a lot of enemies. Therefore, these two weapons are strong and weak. The Void Tower is stronger, but the Xian Huang Mother Qi Cauldron is not weak either. Although they cannot be equally divided, in a real confrontation, the Xian Huang Mother Qi Cauldron is not at a big disadvantage. According to the explanation of the remnant soul left by the owner of the cave, the Void Tower was his main weapon and was carefully irrigated by him. Among them, the Void Tower is slightly more powerful than the Xian Huang Mother Qi Cauldron. Therefore, cultivators in the Xiantian Star territory are both afraid of the ancient forbidden land and also flock to it. Every year, countless cultivators venture into the ancient forbidden land to try to take a chance. However, through the ages, few people can get out of the ancient forbidden land. Su Yang, on the other hand, was not willing to stop here. In the following time, he kept chasing the footsteps of the Qing Huang Empress, wanting to surpass that high mountain. In the blink of an eye, so many years have passed, and when I heard the news about Zhang Juling again, I didn't expect that there was a world between yin and yang. Su Yang narrowed his eyes slightly and said with murderous intent, "There is another cause and effect between you and me. One day, I want you to pay with blood." Qi Hongxiu asked as if seeking confirmation, "The Xian Huang Mother Qi Cauldron was brought out from the ancient forbidden area by you. The treasures that were brought out at the time were also the Void Tower. Originally, these two things belonged to you, but the Xian Huang Mother Qi Cauldron was given to Zhang Juling, Su Yang, is that so? The ancient forbidden land has existed for a long time. No one knows its origin, but everyone is extremely afraid of it. And in front of outsiders, she is a cold and lonely pink beauty who should not be approached by strangers." After hearing Qi Hongxiu's words, Su Yang fell into silence and did not answer, but there were many thoughts in his heart. He. Su Yang's talent is really average, and his ability to grow into an immortal emperor is all due to luck. Su Yang and Zhang Juling narrowly escaped death in the ancient forbidden land, and finally escaped by chance. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 733. Xian Huang Mother Qi Cauldron. The reason why this treasure is powerful is because it contains the black and yellow mother energy. That was the Hongmeng Qi when the world first opened. It was very rare and was called Mother Qi, which represented the ancestor of all Qi. Regardless of whether it is true Qi, spiritual Qi, ghost Qi, or all kinds of messy Qi, when encountering the black and yellow Mother Qi, one must retreat. As soon as the Xian Huang Mother Qi Cauldron comes out, looking at all the star fields, who in the same realm can compete? Certainly. If the realm difference is too big, you can still compete with one or two, and you can even ignore the Xian Huang Mother Qi Cauldron. But this does not mean that the Xian Huang Mother Qi Cauldron is weak, it is just that its realm is poor and it is unable to mobilize the true power of the Xian Huang Mother Qi Cauldron. It is reasonable that it cannot defeat it. Xian Huang Mother Qi Cauldron. At this moment, Su Yang looked at the powerful black and yellow Mother Qi cauldron suspended in mid-air with a very complicated expression. He had already given this cauldron to Zhang Juling, but he didn't expect that it would now be controlled by Scarlet Hongyu. Why? If he had known this, he should not have given this thing to Zhang Juling in the first place. In this case, Zhang Juling would not be the ancestor of the Zhang family, and naturally would not die to protect the Zhang family. All of this is God's will, and it is destined. Since we encountered it today, I will take back the black and yellow Mother Qi cauldron for Juling to comfort Juling's spirit in heaven. With this thought in his mind, Su Yang's expression became serious, and his eyes suddenly became fierce. Buzz. The next moment, he also kneaded the secret with both hands, and in an instant, a virtual small tower was formed in his hands. This virtual small tower is naturally the Void Tower. Now, Scarlet Moon is in the Void Tower, and Su Yang uses his soul body to fight against Scarlet Moon. Therefore, he could not make the Void Tower appear in reality, but because it was inside the Void Tower, the illusory small tower was connected to the Void Tower, so its power was not reduced at all, and would even be strengthened. Crimson Hongyu, I'll give you a chance. Holding the virtual shadow of the Void Tower, Su Yang was confident and said in a deep voice, "Give me the Xian Huang Mother Qi cauldron now. Maybe I will consider not killing you. If you resist desperately, haha, that would be embarrassing. I will let you stay in the Void Tower forever, and you will not be allowed to go out for the rest of your life. Your father imprisoned me for 100,000 years, and I will imprison you for 1,000,000 years, Su Yanjian said with a stern face. Haha, why are you so arrogant? Qi Hongyu sneered, there are rumors outside that the Xian Huang Mother Qi cauldron is not as good as the Void Tower, but I don't believe it. The Xian Huang Mother Qi can control all things in the world, so how can it be inferior to a small Void Tower? Scarlet Hongyu smiled playfully and said, with my current level, I can usually control the Void Tower and deal with ordinary cultivators of the same level. It's not a big problem. Hee. Now he is forcibly activating the Xian Huang Mother Qi cauldron, which naturally affects the old wounds and makes his face look pale. Shocked, Qi Hongyu stared at the shadow of the Void Tower above Su Yang's head. After a moment, she suddenly realized and asked tentatively, Xian Huang Mother Qi. Moreover, I searched for the top refining materials in the world, absorbed the essence inside, blended it into the black and yellow mother energy, and tempered it repeatedly, so that I have the 10,000 rays of light today. Therefore, Crimson Hongyu concluded that the gas in the Void Tower was not Xian Huang Mother Qi. However, maybe you don't know that the remaining 2/3 are in my Void Tower. You're dreaming. After saying that, Qi Hongyu didn't hesitate at all, and immediately made the secret with both hands. The black and yellow mother energy in the cauldron immediately poured out, crushing Su Yang and leaving. Crimson Red Moon stood ready, her eyes full of vigilance, and said coldly, Su Yang, I admit that the Void Tower is very strong. With my current strength, I can't break out of the tower by activating the Xian Huang Mother Qi cauldron. However, I also noticed that the Void Tower is indeed not in a verification state. If I choose to self-destruct the Xian Huang Mother Qi cauldron, you will definitely not be able to bear it, right? After Qi Hongyu finished speaking, she shook her head and said, no, this is impossible. The thousands of rays of light emitted by the Void Tower do have the power of the Xian Huang Mother Qi. Su Yang continued, after so many years of tempering, I have repeatedly broken up and merged the black and yellow mother energy. Su Yang raised the Void Tower above his head, took a step forward, and said in a deep voice, I will give you one last chance. Give me the black and yellow Mother Qi cauldron, and I will spare your life. Xian Huang Mother Qi, as the name suggests, is Xian and yellow, two colors. Thousands of rays of light seemed to have never experienced any impact, shining brightly, and Su Yang was not harmed in any way. What? When Su Yang heard this, he showed a smile, Xianhuang Mother Qi, generally speaking, refers to the energy generated when chaos first opens. This kind of energy is very rare. If nothing goes wrong, the Xianhuang Mother Qi in the Xianhuang Mother Qi cauldron, it already occupies 1/3 of the total. You also have the Xianhuang Mother Qi in your void tower. These 10,000 rays of light are actually the Xianhuang Mother Qi. Boom. Qi Hongyu continued, I have to force the Xianhuang Mother Qi cauldron to break out of the tower, but this is very harmful to me. If the void tower is intact and the tower comes out, the cauldron will be broken. There is no second possibility. Seeing this, Su Yang raised an intriguing sneer at the corner of his mouth, and then controlled the illusory small tower. In an instant, thousands of rays of light fell down, surrounding Su Yang. Soon you will know why the void tower is stronger than the Xianhuang Mother Qi cauldron. On the other hand, Crimson Hongyu was seriously injured before. Although she got a chance to breathe and recovered a little from her injuries, she was not completely healed. After the blow, Su Yang stood there, the illusory little tower above his head still emitting thousands of rays of light, protecting Su Yang. Therefore, at first I didn't want to use the Xianhuang Mother Qi cauldron. I just wanted to make peace with you and see if there was any chance of escape. For a moment, the space in the void tower shook, and the terrifying aftermath rippled around, like the beginning of chaos, vast and majestic. However, Su Yang, I know that there are endless means, and there is a void tower with me, but they imprisoned me in the void tower, occupying the right time and place. But this is definitely not the Xianhuang Mother's Qi. The real Xianhuang Mother's Qi is not this color. Qi Hongyu sneered, but now that I have used the Xianhuang Mother Qi cauldron, there is no room for retreat. Su Yang, today I will see if the Xianhuang Mother Qi can break through the void tower. The next moment, the menacing black and yellow mother's energy blasted above thousands of rays of light. Yellow does not need to be introduced too much. As for black, it is also a deep blue that is almost black. The color of black and yellow will not be like a million rays of light in any case. Even if I can't break through the void tower with a full blow, you will still be affected. Why are you unscathed? This is impossible. Su Yang smiled softly and said, it is no exaggeration to say that today's void tower, even if it is not perfect, can still compete with the Xianhuang Mother Qi cauldron. At this time, Crimson Hongyu, regardless of her injuries, was filled with shock and said in disbelief, how is it possible? The Xianhuang Mother Qi is indestructible to everything. The Xianhuang Mother Qi cauldron and the void tower are treasures of the same level. My realm is higher than yours. Theoretically speaking, you can never be so relaxed. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 734. Speaking of this, Qi Hongyu showed a sneer and said with a determined look, if you bully others too much, I will have no choice but to die with you. Su Yang, I hope you think carefully. Are you threatening me? Su Yang frowned slightly. Haha, what do you think? Scarlet Hongyu said provocatively, if you are confident that the Void Tower can protect you from death due to the self-destruction of Xianhuang Mother Qi, you don't need to care about my threat. After hearing this, Su Yang's face was as dark as water, and he frowned in thought. Xianhuang Mother Qi cauldron, this cauldron is very powerful, especially the Xianhuang Mother Qi, the power of self-destruction is terrifying. If Scarlet Moon threatens to explode outside the Void Tower, Su Yang will retreat without hesitation. But in the Void Tower, Su Yang was in the right place at the right time and had the opportunity to gamble with the Red Moon. If it fails, Su Yang is confident that the Void Tower will only be damaged but not destroyed. But as a result, it will be even more difficult to repair the Void Tower. I am afraid that the complete Void Tower will never be able to reappear in the world. Another point is that the Xianhuang Mother Qi cauldron is a rare treasure. If it is destroyed like this, Su Yang will feel a little uncomfortable. The most important thing is that if it self-destructs, 1/3 of the Xianhuang Mother Qi between heaven and earth will also dissipate. This is the product of the beginning of the world and cannot be regenerated. Back then, after Su Yang reforged the Void Tower, he realized that the Void Tower was the top imperial weapon and could not go any further. But if there is Xianhuang Mother Qi, it may be possible to take the Void Tower to a higher level. Following this, Su Yang may have the opportunity to step into the mysterious realm above the immortal emperor. But the Void Tower has already occupied half of the Xianhuang Mother Qi between heaven and earth, and the remaining part is in the Xianhuang Mother Qi cauldron. And this cauldron is controlled by Zhang Juling. Su Yang rejected Zhang Juling and was already ashamed of her. In addition, the Xianhuang Mu Qi cauldron was given to Zhang Juling by Su Yang, so he had no nerve to ask for it, so the matter was delayed. Now that the Xianhuang Mother Qi cauldron is right in front of him, Su Yang naturally doesn't want to see the Xianhuang Mother Qi collapse. Then, after much thought, Su Yang chose to compromise, looked at Crimson Hongyu, and said calmly, "Crimson Hongyu, if you win, I can let you go. However, you have to keep your storage ring. Also, you need me to answer 3 questions." Su Yang smiled softly and said, "If you agree to these 2 conditions, I will let you go. If you don't agree, then just blow yourself up." Su Yang. Crimson Hongyu was naturally unhappy and gritted her teeth and said, "Do you think I am a child? Since you chose to compromise, it proves that you are afraid of my self-destruction and do not want to die with me." Qi Hongyu said coldly, "In this case, how could I foolishly agree to those conditions of yours? You will say yes." When Su Yang heard this, he showed a playful smile, and then said, "Because your self-destruction cannot kill me. The only person who will die is yourself. And I just don't want the Void Tower to be damaged, so I decided to let you go. But if you don't agree to those 2 conditions, you won't bow to me, haha." Su Yang narrowed his eyes slightly and said with an unkind expression, "I have no other shortcomings, it's just that I have good face. I'm sorry if you don't give me face, no matter how high the price is, I will make you regret it." While speaking, Su Yang thought, and the light of the Void Tower became a little stronger. Seeing this, Crimson Hongyu showed a hint of fear, her eyes fell on the Void Tower, and she looked at it repeatedly, but in the end she still did not dare to fight Su Yang head-on. Su Yang stared at the crimson moon and said calmly, "You'd better tell the truth. If you lie to me, swear on your soul, otherwise I won't believe it." After finishing speaking, Qi Hongyu did not forget to add, "I swear, everything I said is true. If there is any lie, the sky will strike like lightning. I pushed you into a panic and chose to self-destruct. My Void Tower will inevitably be damaged, and the gain outweighs the loss." Su Yang said lightly, "As you just said, you are not stupid. If you don't have the Xianhuang Mother Qi cauldron, you will lose the qualification to negotiate with me. How can you give me this cauldron? I am not stupid either. I won't ask for it from you. No hurries. When you look at money, you look at things, and when you look at the storage ring, your name for me has changed." When Su Yang heard this, he nodded and said with a smile, "There is no need to swear such a vicious oath, I trust you." Su Yang put away the storage ring, turned to meet Crimson Hongyu's gaze, and smiled softly, "Miss Hongyu, don't be nervous, my question is very simple, it is not difficult to answer." Su Yang took the storage ring and looked at it. The cultivation materials inside were very rich, including half of Kuei Long's dragon body. Naturally, he was very satisfied. "Good. Yes, or, who wants to die? I heard that immortal Emperor Yanlong will come to Earth in the near future, and he told me the specific situation through Mr. Fengzi. Haha, Miss Hongyu is really happy. If you don't blow yourself up, you still have a chance to survive." Su Yang coughed dryly, feeling slightly embarrassed. Qi Hongyu rolled her eyes at Su Yang and said coldly, before I swear, you are not like this. At this time, Chi Hongyu couldn't help but ask, by then, he can kill you with just a finger. Aren't you afraid? The flame dragon immortal emperor has left a trace of soul in Mr. Fengzi's body. As long as Mr. Fengzi dies, he can come and directly occupy Mr. Fengzi's body. Snort. That's natural. Su Yang, when you learned that the flame dragon immortal emperor came to earth with such great strength, did you just say yes? He. Su Yang smiled, then went straight to the point and said, since you are the daughter of Emperor Yanlong, you must know many of Emperor Yanlong's arrangements. As far as I know, immortal Emperor Yanlong will choose to come when the spiritual energy is revived. At that time, the defense of the Earth's formation is the most lax. When he comes, he will bring powerful power, and with the help of Master Fengzi's body, he will reach the peak of the Quasi-Emperor in an instant. Chi Hongyu glanced at Su Yang angrily, then threw the storage ring to Su Yang, and urged impatiently, 3 questions, ask them quickly, and let me out after you ask them. Cough. Chi Hongyu gritted her teeth and said, but don't think about the Xian Huang Mother Chi cauldron. I can give you anything. Don't even think about this cauldron. Crimson Hongyu rolled her eyes at Su Yang. She was angry, but she didn't want to get angry. She could only urge her again, you still don't want to ask, hurry up, let me go if you don't ask. Pretending. Su Yang smiled softly and said, if you all choose peace talks, I will naturally leave you with a bottom line. Because she knew very well that once the Xian Huang Mother Chi cauldron exploded, she would definitely die, with no possibility of survival. Chi Hongyu did not hide anything and said truthfully, among the 10 of us, there is a person named Qiang Hai. As long as immortal Emperor Yanlong gives the order, he will immediately kill Master Fengzi and create an opportunity for immortal Emperor Yanlong to come. This is also Qiang Hai's main mission. Su Yang, if you are cruel, I promise you. Also, there is a high probability that the Emperor Yanlong's imperial weapon will come. If the Emperor doesn't come out, no one will be able to compete with him. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 735. Fear. When Su Yang heard Chi Hongyu's words, he did not respond directly, but showed a faint smile on his lips. It seemed that he did not take immortal Emperor Yanlong seriously. Do you have the means to kill the flame dragon immortal emperor? Seeing this, a strange light suddenly appeared in Crimson Hongyu's eyes. Su Yang met Crimson Hongyu's gaze and said with a playful smile, Miss Hongyu, do you really want Emperor Yanlong to die? Yes, Chi Hongyu did not hide anything and nodded truthfully, full of resentment towards the Yanlong immortal emperor. That's strange. Isn't he your father? Why do you hate him so much and even want him to die? Su Yang narrowed his eyes slightly and smiled, is it possible that you want to act with me and try to trick me into telling the story to immortal Emperor Yanlong? He. I'm not bored yet. Chi Hongyu glanced at Su Yang, and then said, the matter between me and immortal Emperor Yanlong is quite complicated, and I can't explain it in just a few words. I'm too lazy to tell you an outsider. Su Yang, I gave you the storage ring. I also answered the questions you just asked. You can ask me 2 more questions. Ask them quickly. Let me out after asking, Chi Hongyu urged impatiently. Unfortunately, my second question is why you hate the flame dragon immortal emperor. Su Yang smiled playfully and said, so, even if you don't want to tell me, you have to tell me. I know a lot of secrets, but you don't even ask, why do you ask this? Chi Hongyu gritted her teeth and said, don't you want to know what techniques Yanlong immortal emperor has practiced and what state he is in now? Or, I can tell you his retreat, where there are many cultivation resources. I'm a nosy person and I'm not interested in what you're talking about. Su Yang smiled softly and said, I still want to know what grudges there are between Emperor Yanlong and you. Does he think you are beautiful and want to have sex with you regardless of the relationship between father and daughter? Shut up. Chi Hongyu hurriedly interrupted and said angrily, Su Yang, you are a pervert, right? Even if Yanlong Immortal Emperor is no longer a thing, it is impossible for him to do such a thing. He is very good to me and obedient. I want the heaven he will pick the moon for me. Chi Hongyu suddenly had a gloomy face and gritted her teeth and said, but I never expected that he would take my mother out of the ice palace. When she came back, my mother was already a corpse. Tisk, tisk, there is such a thing, it's so interesting. But my mother told me that the world outside the ice palace is even more exciting. There is the sun, the moon, the stars in the sky, and the mountain flowers. It is a colorful world. Bapo. Chi Hongyu gritted her teeth and said, although he didn't say anything, I could clearly see that my mother's fatal wound was caused by his own hands, because his breath was on it, and the wound was obviously caused by his imperial weapon. Miss Hongyu, don't worry, I will keep your secrets and never tell anyone. Since then, I have never left the ice palace. For the sake of my mother, I have no choice but to obey the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor. Unfortunately, I am not his opponent, so I have to follow him, hold back and wait for the opportunity. Chi Hongyu glanced at Su Yang angrily, and simply stopped hiding anything and told everything about what happened that year. Immortal Emperor Yanlong and my mother had me because of an accidental union. Chi Hongyu said coldly, Immortal Emperor Yanlong imprisoned my mother and me for so many years, and finally killed my mother. How can I not avenge such a deep hatred? Chi Hongyu fell into memories, her eyes filled with anger. Growing up, I didn't have a single friend. The only one who accompanied me was my mother. I even thought for a time that the ice palace was the whole world. Chi Hongyu sneered, ha ha ha, after leaving the ice palace, I assassinated him hundreds of times. I wish he would die soon. How could I be respectful to the murderer of my mother? Although he is my father, we will fight until death. He killed my mother, so why shouldn't I kill my father? Respect. I thought that in this way I could please the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor and make him treat us better, mother and daughter. Su Yang deliberately provoked Scarlet Hongyu so that the other party would tell her about her grudges with the Yanlong Immortal Emperor, so he continued, in my opinion, the Yanlong Immortal Emperor is a pervert. Whatever he does that goes too far, I don't think so normal. I know that it was Immortal Emperor Yanlong who killed my mother. There is absolutely no mistake about this. TCH, explain what? The more you explain, the more guilty you feel. I see. However, I am not a 3-year-old child anymore. I have memories. Some things are done once they are done and can never be washed away. He and I are destined to live together until death, and only one can live, Chi Hongyu said solemnly. Su Yang showed curiosity and said excitedly, go on, I like to hear it. On that day I realized that the sun was so warm, the stars were so beautiful, the flowers, birds, fish and insects, and the fireworks on earth were all attracting me. That was the happiest day for me. Have no idea. Chi Hongyu couldn't help shouting, and then said directly, the reason why I hate Immortal Emperor Yanlong is because he was ruthless and forced my mother to death. Chi Hongyu shook her head and said, maybe it's because his conscience found out and he knew I was his daughter and couldn't bear to kill me, or maybe it's because he felt guilty and wanted to make it up to me. Assassinated the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor hundreds of times, you are still powerful. If it were anyone else, I'm afraid he would have died long ago. Crimson Red Moon's eyes were filled with monstrous rage, and she said with determination, I once swore that when I become strong, that's when the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor will die. Speaking of this, Chi Hongyu showed a faint smile, I remember one time, I secretly escaped from the ice palace while my mother was sleeping, hoping to see the outside world. Su Yang smiled, then asked curiously, by the way, there is one thing that puzzles me. He even killed your mother, Why did he show mercy to you? As Chi Hongyu spoke, her face turned ugly, but when I returned to the Ice Palace, I found that my mother was tortured to death by the Yanlong Immortal Emperor, and the Yanlong Immortal Emperor threatened me. If I dare to sneak out again, my mother will be injured. It will be heavier. Su Yang could see that Chi Hongyu was not lying, so he comforted him. I didn't expect you and Yanlong Immortal Emperor to be in such a situation. No wonder you have no respect for him from the beginning to the end. Immortal Emperor Yanlong not only imprisoned my mother, but also prohibited me from going out and not even taking a step outside the Ice Palace. But he treated my mother very badly. As long as I can remember, my mother has been imprisoned in an ice palace by him. She can't see the sun and the moon, and can't tell the difference between day and night. I asked him what happened and who killed my mother, but he didn't answer. He just told me that I could go to the ice palace. I'll tell you a big-headed ghost. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 736. Fight until death. Chi Hongyu has been dependent on her mother since she was born. There is only her mother in her world. From this, you can imagine how deep her feelings for her mother are. But suddenly one day, my mother died, and she died in the hands of Emperor Yanlong. This made Chi Hongyu unable to accept it. Even if the other person was her father, she still couldn't let him go. Revenge. I must avenge my mother. Su Yang. At this time, Crimson Hongyu's eyes fell on Su Yang and suddenly said, "This visit of Emperor Yanlong to Earth is an excellent opportunity. If you can let him stay on Earth forever, I owe you a favor. Whatever you ask me to do in the future, I will do it." You think too much. Su Yang kept an eye on it and did not tell the truth. Even if the Yanlong Immortal Emperor comes to Earth without his true form and cannot display his full power, he is still at the peak of the Quasi-Emperor. As you just said, no one can suppress the Yanlong Immortal Emperor until the Immortal Emperor comes out. Su Yang continued, "You also know my realm, it's just nascent soul. Beyond the nascent soul is the God transformation. After the God transformation is the overcoming tribulation. After passing through the thunder tribulation and touching the threshold of the imperial realm, one can reach the quasi-emperor realm." Su Yang shook his head and said, "The recovery of spiritual energy will start in a few days. In my current situation, even if my cultivation speed is thousands of miles, I will not be able to reach the quasi-emperor in just a few days." "Is it?" Scarlet Hongyu looked at Su Yang with a smile on her face, vaguely aware of something, but she didn't point it out, but said, "My words have been spoken, and they will always be effective. No matter what method you use, no matter who takes action, in short, as long as Emperor Yanlong stays on Earth forever, I owe you a favor. At that time, even if you want the Xian Huang Mother Chi Cauldron, I will give it to you without hesitation," Chi Hongyu added with a serious face. "You really think too much. On the day when the spiritual energy is revived, I will definitely stay far away and will never provoke the Yanlong Immortal Emperor, lest an unreasonable disaster arise." Su Yang responded with a smile. "Haha, just pretend." Chi Hongyu looked at Su Yang, and then said, "I'm too lazy to talk nonsense to you. I have one last question, please ask it quickly." "Okay." Su Yang paused, then showed a playful smile. He wanted to say something, but seemed embarrassed to say it. "If you want to ask, just ask, what are you doing so coquettishly?" Chi Hongyu urged impatiently. "Then I have to ask." "Ask, I will answer you truthfully." "Well, I'm a little embarrassed to say it. Mama Gigi, it's no wonder that you are still the Xiantian Immortal Emperor. If you want to ask, please ask quickly and show the decisiveness you had when you were the Immortal Emperor." "Oh well." Su Yang finally plucked up the courage, approached Scarlet Hongyu, and asked in a low voice, "Miss Hongyu, do you have that kind of skin disease?" "I don't lie and answer truthfully, otherwise there will be thunder and lightning from heaven," Su Yang reminded. "I without have." Chi Hongyu was furious, gritting her teeth and growling, "Su Yang, you are shameless, don't you have any sense of shame? I will fight with you today." After the words fell, Chi Hongyu raised her jade leg, rolled up a terrifying force, and suddenly kicked Su Yang. This was the inside of the Void Tower. Su Yang was naturally not afraid and raised his hand to grab Crimson Moon's jade feet. "Tisk, tisk." Su Yang glanced at the jade feet in his hand and said with a playful smile, "These little feet are brought to my door. Miss Hongyu, are you teasing me?" "You," Chi Hongyu blushed and said, "Shameless. Haha, can you be reasonable? It was obviously you who reached out to me and asked me to touch it, but now you are accusing me." Su Yang smiled softly and said, "Also, didn't you just keep saying that you would cooperate with me? Come on, let's have a dark battle first, and then I will let you leave the Void Tower. Just now, now is now, I regretted it." Chi Hongyu hurriedly withdrew her jade feet, and then said, "Su Yang, I have fulfilled all your requests. You can't break your promise and let me out immediately." "He. I will naturally do what I promised you. Wait, I will let you out now." Su Yang showed a smile, and with a thought, his soul returned to his body. As for Crimson Hongyu, she couldn't compete with the Void Tower at all. She wanted to escape but couldn't, so she planned to use the Xian Huang Mother Qi Cauldron. Chi Hongyu then said, "A man, be more generous, Su Yang, don't you not be able to take a joke?" Sure enough, a woman's mouth is a liar, and she can turn her back faster than a book. Su Yang said calmly, "I am only slightly injured at most. There is a chance to recover from the damage to the Void Tower, but you are going to die for real. You'd better think clearly." With just one thought from Su Yang, he could put the Red Moon into the Void Tower again. Immediately afterwards. Crimson Moon. Of course. Yes. Snored. Chi Hongyu hesitated for a few seconds, and finally gave up the idea of using the Xian Huang Mother Qi Cauldron. However, although she was cursing in her heart, on the surface, Crimson Red Moon did not dare to offend Su Yang, for fear of being imprisoned in the Void Tower again. In her heart, Chi Hongyu kept cursing Su Yang. If curses could kill people, Su Yang would have died 10,000 times. How arrogant Chi Hongyu was before, now she is so cowardly. He. Su Yang showed a smile, then put away the Void Tower, smiled and said, "Then you go, see you later." "Really?" Su Yang raised his eyebrows. "Su Yang, why are you pretending? Just wait for me. Next time we meet, I will step on you and let you know how powerful I am." "What's wrong?" Su Yang kneaded the secret with both hands, the light flickered in the room, and the next moment the crimson moon appeared in the room. But at this time, Su Yang raised the corners of his mouth and suddenly took action, and the Void Tower directly covered her. She still has a big revenge to take, and her life is still so beautiful. She definitely doesn't want to die, so she doesn't dare to confront Su Yang head-on. Chi Hongyu showed a sarcastic smile and said flatteringly, "Su Yang, I was joking with you just now. To liven up the atmosphere, don't be funny. If you use the Xian Huang Mother Qi Cauldron, then I will kill you at all costs." Red Moon showed joy on her face, and after saying a few harsh words arrogantly, she was about to leave Jufeng Mountain. "Damn Su Yang, wait for me." "That's it?" Su Yang looked at the direction where the Red Moon was leaving, with a smile that showed success. "I'm scared." Scarlet Hongyu seized the opportunity and jumped away. The figure quickly disappeared, and only the voice came, still as arrogant. "Su Yang, you are honest, but I will remember today's shame, don't think about kindness." After coming out, Chi Hongyu became more hardened, stared at Su Yang coldly, and said resentfully, "Next time we meet, I will avenge my shame and let you know how powerful I am." Su Yang was convinced of this, so he stood up, walked to the side of Red Moon, and said with a playful smile, "You were very arrogant just now, can't things be better today? Do you want to avenge your previous shame? Then." Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 737. Naturally, Su Yang would not let Chi Hongyu leave without any reason. After all, the other party was the daughter of the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor. And Immortal Emperor Yanlong was very darling to his daughter, and he was completely obedient to her. He even destroyed many emperors for the sake of Crimson Red Moon. It can be seen from this that the importance of Crimson Red Moon in Emperor Yanlong's heart and keeping her by his side will be beneficial without any harm. Moreover, if Su Yang forced to keep Crimson Hongyu would definitely not dare to actually explode the Xian Huang Mother Qi Cauldron. Because Su Yang was determined, Qi Hongyu didn't want to die, and Su Yang was sure of what to do with a person who didn't want to die. But Su Yang still opened the Void Tower and let Qi Hongyu go. "From this moment on, your whereabouts will be controlled by me at all times." Su Yang said with a strategizing smile, "Crimson Hongyu, you took the risk to come to the earth, you must have other plans, or maybe the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor has other plans for you. I let you go, I just want to see what you are going to do." Monitor. When he was in the Void Tower just now, Su Yang used some special means to leave his mark deep in the soul of Crimson Red Moon. From now on, Su Yang can know the whereabouts of Scarlet Hongyu at all times, and can see what she is doing through the mark. To put it simply, this is equivalent to installing a portable monitor on Crimson Hongyu. Certainly. This method is very complicated. Even if Su Yang has the soul of the Immortal Emperor, it will be difficult to use it successfully. Fortunately, in the Void Tower at that time, Su Yang could exert the effect of the Immortal Emperor's soul to the greatest extent, so he succeeded without anyone noticing. All in all, the Crimson Moon is now completely under Su Yang's control. Su Yang could clearly see where she went, who she met, and what she did, even if she took a shower, slept, or went to the toilet. After dealing with Scarlet Hongyu, Su Yang began to look carefully at her storage ring. Although the cultivation resources in the Crimson Moon storage ring are very rich, there is nothing particularly amazing. It stands to reason that with Emperor Yanlong's love for her, there must be old medicines and powerful magic weapons in the Crimson Moon storage ring. But now, her ring is gone, only some things that can be seen on the earth. Supplies. There are not many materials from outside the territory in the Imperial Seal storage ring. Their storage ring must have been destroyed when they came to Earth. As for the current storage ring and the resources inside, they were all scavenged from the Earth. Su Yang showed a smile and said in a calm tone, "Although these materials are not amazing enough, for me now, they are already very good. Using these materials well, I can definitely break through to the state of becoming a god." Su Yang smiled, and then put all the supplies in the storage rings of Qi Feng and Qi Hongyu into his own ring. The storage rings between them are relatively stretched, the space inside is limited, and living objects cannot be stored. They are far inferior to the storage rings forged by Su Yang himself. After finishing this, Su Yang did not leave the room, but returned to the bed and sat cross-legged again. Now it is certain that the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor will come to Earth when his spiritual energy is revived. With Su Yang's strength, he was naturally unable to compete with the Yanlong Immortal Emperor. Even with the Void Tower, it would be difficult to resist the Yanlong Immortal Emperor's casual attack. Su Yang is not stupid, and he will definitely not confront the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor head-on. He couldn't defeat the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor, but there were people who could, such as the Great Terror at the foot of Jufeng Mountain, Jingke. Jingke has already stepped into the Imperial realm. The real imperial realm is the second powerful emperor realm in the past thousands of years on Earth. Zilong is first, he is second. It's a pity that Zilong has disappeared and now he can only rely on Jingke. Jingke was imprisoned at the foot of Jufeng Mountain and could not go out. Moreover, he was troubled by the devil and could not go out either. Su Yang closed his eyes slightly and began to use the resources in the storage ring to carefully build the portal. Soon the day passed and the recovery of spiritual energy was getting closer and closer. However, when Su Yang looked over, Millennium Killer wisely closed his mouth. Owner. Qian Qinza came out to smooth things over, then said in a deep voice, Su Er, you still haven't apologized to Su Yang. When Su Er heard this, his expression was a little ugly and slightly embarrassed. Next. Seeing this, Qian looked at Su Yang and wanted to plead for Su Er. With your current strength, I can kill you with just a lift of my finger. Are you threatening me? Aren't you afraid that I won't give Jufengshan face? This requires building a portal in 2 places to achieve transmission. Owner. Su Yang took a step forward, and then a huge power swept across the audience, crushing Su Er, and said coldly, what qualifications do you have to threaten me? It's done, we just need to build another portal at the location where the spiritual energy is revived, and we can lead the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor to Jufeng Mountain. Finally, Su Yang, who was sitting cross-legged, opened his eyes and the portal was successfully constructed. The corner of Su Yang's mouth raised slightly, and then he said, I promised Su King Ai that I would restore his physical body. Now there are still 2 days before the spiritual energy recovery begins, so it's time to go to Kunlun Mountain. With this thought in his mind, Su Yang pushed open the door and walked out. Su Er struggled for a moment, then admitted his mistake, and then said stubbornly, however, Su Yang, no matter how strong you are, I still say the same thing, you'd better not let down Qianshangsu Alliance leader, if she is wronged, I will never let you go. The distance between Jiangbei and Jufeng Mountain is not very far. With Su Yang's current ability, it can be done. Su Yang. I was wrong about what happened that day. I shouldn't have said that to you. Su Yang, I've heard everything about what happened between you two. Why do you bother with him? Won't you let me go? However, the pressure in Su Yang realm is low, and Jiangbei is still far away from Jufeng Mountain. Time flies. Now that Su Yang is in Jufeng Mountain, he plans to build the teleportation gate of Jufeng Mountain first. After going to Jiangbei, he will determine the location where the spiritual energy will be revived, and then build the second teleportation gate. But before I leave, I need to see Jingke again and see how he is doing. Seeing Su Yang coming out, the group of people all said hello and were very respectful to Su Yang. If he hadn't made preparations in advance, Su Yang might have been caught up and killed by the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor as soon as he took a few steps. The teleportation array can connect 2 spaces. The arrangement process is very complicated. The farther the distance, the more difficult the arrangement is. Guo Yi, Nangang Yu, Millennium Killer, and many Nine Peaks Peak Masters are outside the door at the moment, and they don't know how long they have been guarding. Su Yang nodded, his eyes fell on the young man next to Qian, and said, Su Er, what are you doing here, waiting for an opportunity to take revenge on me? Therefore, on the day when the spiritual energy is revived, Su Yang needs to lead Immortal Emperor Yanlong to Jufeng Mountain and let him compete with Jingke. Therefore, Su Yang needs to arrange a small teleportation formation to connect Jufeng Mountain and Jiangbei. Master Su. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 738. The Su Yang of today is no longer the Su Yang of half a year ago. Even Wu Qingying, the first person in ancient martial arts, can hardly guarantee that he can win Su Yang. Therefore, Qian Qinsha no longer looked at Su Yang as an elder looked at a junior. He faced Su Yang with the same awe as he faced a strong man. So Su Yang looked over and said nothing more about 1,000 years of killing. He just sighed for Su Er and secretly felt sorry for Su Er. Su Yang. Su Er was not afraid of Su Yang, and gritted his teeth and said, "It doesn't matter if you are better than me, I am not afraid of you. I did not do the right thing about what happened before. It is reasonable for me to apologize to you. I am willing to do so. I am not apologizing because you are strong." Su Er met Su Yang's gaze and said stubbornly, "You can kill me today. No one can say what will happen tomorrow in terms of practice. Maybe one day, I will become stronger than you. If you don't kill me, you have to be careful in the future. Don't let me hear the news that you failed the Jianshan Snow Alliance leader. Otherwise, I will punish you," Su Er said seriously. "Oh, is it so?" Su Yang squinted his eyes slightly, looked at Su Er, his eyes were clouded, and sneered, "Didn't you call Shuer before? Why did you change your name now?" Snored. Su Er responded, "That's because I haven't changed for a while. Qian Shangxu has already been the leader of Jufeng Mountain, and she is married to you. It's inappropriate for me to call her Shuer. I know that she does not belong to me in this life or in this life, and I have given up the thought of her. However, Su Yang, Qian Shangxu is the leader of Jufeng Mountain. As a member of Jufeng Mountain, I have the job to protect her." Su Er gritted his teeth and said. "That's it?" When Su Yang heard this, he showed a playful smile and suddenly took action, and a terrifying force instantly poured into Su Er's body. Hey, it's a pity. Su Er's talent is among the best in Jufeng Mountain. Even the old ladies are full of praise for him. I didn't expect that today. Seeing this, Qian Sha couldn't help but sigh, "This kid is just too stubborn. Is it so difficult to give in?" The other peak masters at the scene also felt sorry when they saw this scene. "Everyone, look carefully, Su Er is not dead at this time," Guo Yi suddenly said with a smile. Not dead?" Swish, swish, swish. For a moment, everyone's eyes fell on Su Er. Originally, they thought that with Su Er's strength, he would definitely die if he received a palm from Su Yang. But now it was discovered that Su Er was not dead, but the real energy was surging in his body, and his strength was obviously strengthened. The person who felt the deepest feeling was Su Er. He opened his palms, looked at the chi in his palms, and murmured to himself in shock, I actually broke through, late-stage martial master. Moreover, there seems to be a mysterious power in my body. What is going on?" Su Erbei was puzzled, and finally looked at Su Yang with a complicated expression. "Didn't you say that you would surpass me in the future? With your previous qualifications, there is absolutely no possibility of surpassing me." Seeing this, Su Yang smiled softly and said, "Just now, I injected a huge dragon energy into your body. Now your talent has been greatly improved. Of course, now you still have no chance to surpass me, you still need this thing." After saying that, Su Yang raised his arm and pointed his fingers towards Su Er, and a ray of light followed Su Yang's fingertips and entered Su Er's mind. "This is my modified version of the Sheng Longju, which is suitable for the ancient martial arts system. You should study it yourself." Haha, I didn't lie about one thing. He is not qualified to be my opponent." Soon, Su Er was the only one left at the scene. It was obvious that he was disrespectful to Su Yang in every possible way, and even made provocations, but the other party showed mercy. Not only did he not kill him, he also gave him a chance to become stronger. Su Yang hadn't gone too far when he heard Su Er's words. He didn't reply, but raised his hand to indicate that he had heard it. After doing all this, Su Yang smiled and said, "With the Sheng Longju and Dragon Qi, the ceiling of your growth will be infinitely higher. As for how far you can go, it depends on your own destiny." Su Er stood up and said with a determined look, I will go into seclusion right away. I will not leave the mountain until I surpass my ancestor. What did you notice? Qian Sha became even more curious. You still have the big picture. Su Yang smiled and said, first of all, Su Er's qualifications, apart from Shui should be the strongest in Jufeng Mountain. Senior Wu Qingying did not miss it. She helped Su Er practice before, so she must have noticed it. Qian Qinsha praised him again, and then asked curiously, but why did you promote him? After all, he has some conflicts with you. If you want to promote him, you can promote others. I also have many talented people in Jufeng Mountain. This made Su Er extremely moved. Looking at Su Yang's back, he knelt down on one knee and clasped his fists with both hands. Passing through the waterfall, there is an ice cave where Qian Shan Snow sleeps. As for Jing Ke, he is under the ice cave. Su Er, you are a blessing in disguise. In the days to come, just practice with peace of mind. A few minutes later, Su Yang smiled softly and said, in my eyes, he is just a junior, why should I fall in love with him? Qian Sha gave Su Er a few words and then led several peak masters to chase Su Yang. The ancestor naturally refers to Wu Qingying. Guo Yi, Nangong Yu, followed closely behind. He looked at the departing figure, feeling the mysterious dragon energy in his body and the mysterious and complex Shen Longju, with mixed feelings in his heart. Su Yang, I didn't expect you to be so broad-minded. Faced with Su Er's provocation, instead of killing him, you actually helped him grow. I admire you at this time, Qian Qinsha said with a hearty smile. After leaving a few words, Su Yang strode away. Su Er wanted to call Su Yang, but before he could say anything, he realized something was wrong, so he changed his words and said, Master Su, I, Su Er, have accepted today's kindness, and I will definitely repay you in the future. Su Er was extremely surprised, with an extremely complicated expression. He looked at Su Yang and asked with a trembling voice, I was rude to you and was ready to die. You won't kill me. Su Er knew that Su Yang had no intention of provoking him, nor did he look down on him, otherwise he would not have given him Dragon Chi and the Dragon Ascension technique. After saying that, Su Er disappeared on the spot. What awaits him will be long years of cultivation. Shen Longju. You are too weak now and are not qualified to be killed by me. Practice hard and strive to fight me one day. By then, I will not be merciful. Su. Dragon Chi, Dragon Ascension Technique. Su Yang simply wanted to succeed him and make him stronger. The reason why he said those words was just to urge him to practice and give him motivation. Well, there are two reasons. Su Yang and his party came to a high mountain, opposite a waterfall. Su Yang strode to Su Er's side, met his gaze, and said with an upward smile, I'm looking forward to that day, don't let me down. Dragon Chi. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 739. Su Er's ancestor must have been a generation of emperors, with a hint of imperial aura in him. Su Yang explained, originally, by his generation, the imperial aura should have disappeared long ago. But Su Er showed signs of returning to his ancestors. The emperor's energy condensed in his body, and the 9 dragons possessed him faintly in his destiny. Such a physique will directly affect his cultivation talent. Without my help, he will surpass Senior Wu Qingying in the near future, Su Yang said with a smile. Emperor's spirit. When Qian Sha heard this, he frowned and thought for a moment, then suddenly realized, Su Yang, you are really right. Su Er's ancestor was the king of Su state in the western Zhou dynasty, and his name was King Su Yan. Qianqianchi smiled and said, haha, I didn't expect this kid to have such good luck. Now it's right. Su Yang nodded and said, with the aura of an emperor, he is most suitable for practicing the Shenlongju. Coupled with the dragon aura I passed on, if nothing happens, one day he will definitely become famous in the ancient martial arts world and become the strongest one of them. If he doesn't want to stay in Jufeng Mountain and chooses to run away, part of the thousands of miles of mountains and rivers on earth should belong to him. Haha, okay, Su Yang, thank you for cultivating a future supporter for Jufeng Mountain. Qian was very grateful to Su Yang, and then asked doubtfully, didn't you just say that there are two reasons? What is the second reason? Character. Su Yang said without any hesitation, if you have bad conduct and are submissive, even if you have the physique, you will not be able to become a great person. This Su is neither humble nor arrogant, and is not afraid of power. I like his character very much. Su Yang continued, his kneeling at the end showed that he knew what I meant and was grateful. If I hadn't kneeled down, maybe I would have gone back to kill him and take back the dragon energy, Su Yang said seriously. The dragon energy given to Su was extracted from half of Kuei Long's body by Su Yang. Although Su Yang kept it for no use, this thing was relatively rare. If Su wasn't worth it, he would definitely take it back. But now it seems that my judgment is correct. Giving the Dragon Qi and Shenlongju to Su will definitely yield rewards in the future. Grandpa Qian. After talking about Su Su Yang said, I'm leaving Jufeng Mountain soon. Before I leave, I want to see Shui again. You go and do your work. After we meet, it's time for me to leave. Okay. Qian Sha nodded and said, well, Su Yang, we won't send you off. I wish the spiritual energy recovery is successful. After saying that, 1,000 years ago led several peak masters away. Guo Yi, Nangang Yu, you two don't have to wait for me, go to the Su family in Jiangbei first. Su Yang ordered, after watching Shui, I will go back to Kunlun Mountain first, and then go to Jiangbei to meet you. Yes. Guo Yi and Nangang Yu clasped their fists and responded respectfully, and then their figures disappeared from the spot. After everyone left, Su Yang jumped up, passed through the waterfall, and soon came to the ice cave. Qianqianxiu is still sleeping, with a beautiful face that attracts the attention of the whole country and attracts people's love and affection. Su Yang stood next to Qianqianxiu, looking at Qianqianxiu with love on his face, and reluctantly said goodbye after a few minutes. Subsequently, with a thought in his mind, Su Yang raised the void tower. In an instant, thousands of rays of light fell down, protecting him. With the protection of the void tower, Su Yang traveled unimpeded, and soon came underground and saw the great terror trapped in the cage, Jinkei. At this moment, Jinkei was very calm. He was sitting cross-legged with his eyes slightly closed, and he was running the pure heart mantra. It seemed that he had temporarily suppressed his demonic nature. Su Yang, you're here again, why are you here? Jinkei said when he noticed Su Yang's arrival. Senior, how is your current situation? Can you fully suppress your demonic nature? Su Yang did not beat around the bush and went straight to the point, if nothing else happens, Immortal Emperor Yanlong will come to Earth in 2 days. By then, he will be at least the peak quasi-emperor. Senior, are you capable of fighting? With the pure heart charm you taught me, I can suppress the demonic nature for the time being, and I won't be possessed by the demon again in a short period of time. Next. Originally, he was a genius of a generation. He was accepted as a disciple by the invincible Su Wuzi, and he was unparalleled in the limelight. In a room east of Kunlun Mountain, Su King Ai was lying on the bed, in a very bad mood, with despair in her eyes. From that moment on, Su King Ai, dressed in Xing Yi, became a leader among people and was never weaker than others. Although I have been imprisoned for countless years and have insufficient energy and blood in my body, so I cannot display the true strength of the Emperor realm, but I am not afraid of anything below the Imperial realm. After leaving Jufeng Mountain, Su Yang did not choose to walk instead, he asked Wu Feng, a young talent from Jufeng Mountain, to arrange a helicopter. Jing Kai responded, I understand what you mean, do you want me to deal with that foreign immortal emperor? Even if they reach the realm of becoming gods, cultivators still need to consume spiritual energy to fly in the air, but flying does not. But now, he has lost his limbs, his hundreds of years of cultivation have been burned, and he has turned into a complete waste. Su Yang exited the underground cage and stayed with Jian Shangxiu in the ice cave for half an hour before leaving. That night, Su Yang arrived at Kunlun Mountain. But when he thought that the master hadn't been found yet, that he still had a lot to do, and that he could never leave this world like this, Su King Ai gave up on committing suicide. Have. The helicopter breaks through the sky and moves forward in the clouds. As a means of transportation, it is really suitable. In fact, Su King Ai couldn't even take care of himself. There were 2 servants outside the door who were responsible for taking care of his food and daily life. Senior, don't worry. I will lead him to Jufeng Mountain. Senior, just take action, Su Yang said. At this moment, a figure appeared in the room without anyone noticing. Buzz buzz. Senior, I can rest assured with these words. Time is urgent. Senior, I'll take my leave first. Su Yang clasped his fists and said. At this time, Jing Kai said sternly, I think what Zilong said is for me to deal with the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor. I will naturally go all out. Yes, Senior, are you sure? Su Yang nodded. So best. At this time, Su Qincan, Su Shenbing, and everyone in Kunlun Mountain were resting and practicing, and no one noticed Su Yang's arrival. As he spoke, Jing Kai seemed to have thought of something, and said with concern, it's just that I still can't completely suppress the demonic nature. If I leave Jufeng Mountain, even if I kill the Yanlong Immortal Emperor, it will be a disaster for the earth, a catastrophe. Hey, I am possessed by a demon. I am irrational and murderous. I am even more terrifying than the Flame Dragon Immortal Emperor you mentioned. Jing Kai sighed. Su Yang did not disturb them, opened his consciousness, and soon found Su King Ai. The Lushan furnace array in Kunlun Mountain is still operating normally. This made Su King Ai, who had always been strong, feel extremely uncomfortable and had thoughts of committing suicide many times. Jing Kai's worries immediately disappeared, and he said with great enthusiasm, just bring him here, and I will make Jufeng Mountain the burial tomb of the Immortal Emperor from outside the territory. Jing Kai nodded and did not open his eyes from the beginning to the end. The pure heart curse continued to operate. This formation was arranged by Su Yang, so he could naturally control it and enter Kunlun Mountain directly. Now, he placed all his hopes on Su Yang and looked forward to Su Yang's arrival every minute. Whoosh. Good. Urban Super Dude. Author, Eagle in the Desert. Chapter 740. Who? Su King Ai was shocked. After taking a closer look, she said happily, young master. With that said, Su King Ai wanted to get up, but without his limbs, he had no ability to get up. Su King Ai. Su Yang strode forward and said with a smile, don't waste your efforts. Just lie down peacefully and I will reshape your body now. Thank you, young master. Su King Ai was extremely excited, her eyes were shining and her breathing was quickening. Since losing his limbs, he has dreamed that he can become a normal person. Now that the young master is back, he finally has a chance to recover. Next. Su Yang did not hesitate, and immediately formed a small formation with both hands to prevent being disturbed. Immediately afterwards, Su Yang took out half of Kuei Long's body with a thought, and then began to perform the secret technique of body joining. For a moment, the room was filled with light, and endless energy poured into Su King Ai's body. But because of the small formation, no one in Kunlun Mountain noticed it. At this moment, Mr. Fengzi has refined the life-saving elixir, and his injuries have long since healed, and he has already found 2 other foreign masters. When the 10 foreign masters came to Earth, they were all dead and disabled, and only these 2 were left. One of them is named Sugong and the other is Qinghai. They are standing next to Mr. Fengzi now. Mr. Su's strength is almost the same as Mr. Fengzi's. Even if he is weak, he is not much weaker. He is not a real man. Hundreds of years ago, he committed suicide with a sword in order to practice some secret technique. Although he lost the capital of being a man, he gained great strength. He had ice in his left hand and flames in his right hand. His movements were both ice and fire. There were few opponents in the same realm. As for Qinghai, few people have seen him actually take action, and he has been following immortal Emperor Yanlong for the shortest time. Qinghai has a withdrawn personality and is not very gregarious. He has little interaction with the other people who came to the Earth, so his relationship is only average. When he first came to Earth, Mr. Fengzi once proposed to compete with Qinghai. However, Qinghai did not take action, but directly admitted defeat that he was not as good as Mr. Fengzi. Others around him could also see that the spiritual energy fluctuations in Qinghai's body were indeed not as strong as Master Fengzi's, and no one took him seriously. At this moment, under the arrangement of Master Fengzi, the 3 of them gathered together to discuss matters. I think you should know this thing. Yes, this is the psychic stone. At this time, Mr. Fengzi showed the psychic stone to Sugong and Qinghai, and then said, I won't introduce the functions of the psychic stone in detail. I have contacted the Yanlong Immortal Emperor before and received his order. Mr. Fengzi continued, his old man asked me to find you and go to Jiangbei together to prevent the spiritual energy from reviving. Immortal Emperor Yanlong also said that when the spiritual energy is revived, he will come to the earth. By then, the earth will be stepped on by him, and no one can stop him. Mr. Fengzi smiled softly and said, we just need to go to Jiangbei in advance to make some preparations. During this period, you 2 must obey my arrangements and not disobey. This is what the Yanlong Immortal Emperor means. If you don't believe it, I can activate the psychic stone in front of you and confirm it to the Yanlong Immortal Emperor, Mr. Fengzi added, wanting to gain control. Fengzi, others may not believe what you say, but I definitely believe it. Mr. Su pinched the orchid finger, looked at Mr. Fengzi with peach blossoms in his eyes, and said softly, don't forget, the relationship between the 2 of us is much closer than other people. After saying that, Mr. Shu raised his hand and touched Mr. Fengzi's hand. Master Fengzi withdrew his hand, nodded, then looked at Qinghai next to him, and asked, Qinghai, do you still want to ask Immortal Emperor Yanlong for confirmation? Unnecessary. Qinghai shook his head and said, my strength is low. No matter where I am, the strong will always be respected. Mr. Fengzi, you are stronger than me, so you should give us orders. That's good. Seeing Qinghai taking the initiative to show weakness, Master Fengzi nodded with satisfaction, then put away the psychic stone with a thought, and said, it's getting late, let's go to Jiangbei as soon as possible. Kuolong, Chifeng, Mingju, and Crimson Hongyu, I have told you all about them. The earth is not as weak as we thought. There are many hidden strong men here, but with our strength, we cannot completely crush them. Young Master Fengzi continued, however, that Su Yang is just an insidious villain with average strength. When his spiritual energy recovers, he will definitely go to Jiangbei. If I meet him in Jiangbei, I must kill him to satisfy the hatred in my heart. Yes. Mr. Su and Qinghai agreed one after another and entered the younger brother's state. They were respectful to Mr. Fengzi. But when Mr. Su looked at Mr. Fengzi, in addition to being respectful, there was also a hint of charm, which was thought-provoking. The other side. After Chi Hongyu escaped from Jufeng Mountain, she left Wannan and headed northwest. This time she was very stubborn and insisted on coming to Earth despite the dissuasion of immortal Emperor Yanlong. Naturally, she had her own Xiaojuju. Actually, Crimson Moon has half the blood of the Earth in her body, and her mother is a person from the Earth. Many years ago, immortal Emperor Yanlong came to Earth, fell in love with her mother at first sight, and forcibly abducted her mother. Ever since she was a child, Chi Hongyu has been very curious about why her father was so cold to her mother and even imprisoned her in an ice palace. Even she was not allowed to leave the ice palace before her mother passed away. Chi Hongyu asked more than once, wanting to know what happened between the two of them, but her mother refused to tell her, and just told her that she must go to Earth Kongtong Mountain if she had the chance. It is because of mother's instructions that the Crimson Moon will come to the Earth no matter what. Kongtong Mountain, is the place where mother lives on Earth? I don't know why she insisted on letting me go there. With strong doubts, Crimson Hongyu kept walking and headed straight to the northwest Kongtong Mountain. That night, after several hours of work, Su Yang finally connected Su King I's limbs. Nowadays, the limbs Su King I possesses belong to the imperial seal, and are infused with the essence and blood of half of Kuei Long's body, making them extremely powerful. Because of the new limbs, Su King I's strength has also been improved. She is already at the nascent soul realm, and is only a hair away from the middle nascent soul stage. Thank you, young master. Su King I, who had regained a new life, hurriedly knelt down on one knee, clasped his fists with both hands and said, "If it weren't for the young master, I'm afraid I would be useless in this life. Master has given me the kindness to know and teach me, and you have given me the kindness to rebuild well, I will never forget it." "You are welcome." Su Yang raised his hand slightly and said, "You are also kind to Su Yang. This is what I should do." "Yes." Su King I slowly stood up and seemed to have thought of something. She ignored the power of her new body and said, "Young master, just this morning, senior brother sent news that he had found a clue to master. He is indeed alive and, remaining on Earth.